My family called me a fraud, kicked me out of the house, and claimed my late grandfather's will was a lie, but they had no idea I held a secret video that could leave them out on the streets. Today, I'm going to tell you how a quiet estate attorney turned her family's greed into the biggest mistake of their lives. My name is Sophia Grant. I'm 41 now. At 4:22 p.m. on a crisp Friday in late September, 3 years ago, I received a certified letter from a law firm I'd never heard of. The envelope was thick, cream-colored, embossed with gold foil. I opened it in my car outside the courthouse where I work as an estate planning attorney. Inside, a copy of my grandfather's final will and trust, dated just 6 months before he died. Grandpa Harlan, the man who raised me more than my parents ever did, had left me his entire estate. Not split. Not a portion. Everything. The 320-acre family ranch in Montana, the investment portfolio worth $8.7 million at the time, the vintage car collection, even the small cabin on Flathead Lake where we used to fish. Total value then, around $12.4 million. But the letter wasn't from Grandpa's old lawyer. It was from a firm representing my parents and my 2 older siblings. Attached was a polite but firm demand: cease all claims to the Harlan Grant Trust. The document you received is a forgery or invalid due to lack of capacity. Sign the enclosed disclaimer or face litigation for fraud. I stared at the pages. Grandpa had signed in the shaky hand I remembered from his last year. The notary was someone I'd met once, his nurse. And the trust had a clause I'd helped him draft years earlier. Irrevocable, no contest, with me as successor trustee if anything happened to him. They weren't just contesting. They were calling me a fraud. Before I tell you how I turned their demand into the biggest mistake of their lives, and why the entire extended family watched them lose everything at the reading 6 months later, tell me in the comments, what time is it where you are right now? Have you ever been accused of stealing from the one person who truly believed in you? Grandpa Harlan was my rock. My parents, Dad a failed real estate developer, Mom a social climber who loved country club brunches, were always too busy for me. I was the middle child, the quiet one. My brother Derek, eldest, 45, was the golden boy who got the sports scholarships, the startup loans that failed, the constant bailouts. My sister Lauren, 43, was the pretty one who married rich twice, divorced richer, always needing bridge money. Grandpa saw through it all. When I was 16 and they kicked me out for talking back about their spending, he drove 400 miles to get me. He paid for my college, my law school. Sophia, he'd say over coffee on the porch, you're the only one who listens to the land instead of trying to sell it. I became an estate attorney partly because of him. I helped him set up the trust in 2015. Irrevocable living trust, assets poured in gradually. Me as co-trustee for compliance. He wanted the ranch preserved, no selling for quick cash, no development. Profits to charity after his death. With me managing, he never told them the full details. They'd talk me out of it, he said once. They always do. After he passed quietly in his sleep, I got condolence texts from the family. No funeral invite. Private, Derek said. Then silence for months. Until that letter. I didn't panic. I did what I teach clients. Document everything. First call. Grandpa's old lawyer, retired now. He confirmed. Harlan executed a new pour-over will and amended the trust last year. He was lucid. I witnessed it myself, but he insisted on a second firm for privacy. Second, the nurse/notary. She emailed me recordings of Grandpa dictating changes. Clear voice, no confusion. Third, bank statements. Grandpa had quietly moved the last $2.1 million in liquid assets into the trust weeks before death. Parents had no access, but they had already acted. Derek listed the ranch for sale, $9.2 million asking. Lauren posted Instagram stories, honoring Grandpa by modernizing the family legacy sparkles with luxury cabin Reno mock-ups. White heavy checkmark, 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 white heavy checkmark. They thought I was broke. Quiet Sophia. They didn't know I had the original trust docs, digital backups, Grandpa's journals detailing every loan he gave them over 30 years. Total, $1.8 million undocumented, forgiven only if the ranch stayed intact. I sent one email to their lawyer. The trust is valid. Provide proof of forgery or capacity issues. Otherwise, cease communications. Their reply, see you in court. Grandpa dies, secret trust leaves me everything parents/siblings call it fake. Demand I sign away, they're selling ranch fast. I have ironclad proof. Recordings, journals, backups. I filed a petition to confirm trust validity and remove them as interested parties. They weren't beneficiaries. Quietly, meanwhile, their sale hit snags. Buyer due diligence flagged disputed title. Appraiser noted environmental easements. Grandpa placed my idea. No subdividing, no commercial use. Value dropped $3 million overnight. Derek called me. First time in years. Voice sweet. Soph, come on. We're family. Grandpa wouldn't want this fight. Just sign the disclaimer. We'll cut you in, maybe 10% after sale. I laughed softly. You already have my answer. Lauren texted, you're ruining Mom's retirement dreams. After everything we've been through. Everything equals them taking me giving. Court date set for trust contest. Discovery phase. They subpoenaed my records. I turned over everything, including Grandpa's journals. One entry from 2 years before death. Derek asked for another $200,000 loan. Told him no. He said, you'll regret it when I'm gone. Lauren cried about her alimony. Sophia never asks. She fixes. Their lawyer tried mediation. In the room, parents, Derek, Lauren, me. Dad. Sophia, this is ridiculous. Harlan was old, confused. Sign, and we'll forget this. Mom, you always were ungrateful. We raised you. I slid copies of the journals across the table. Read page 47. Grandpa wrote about the time you told him I was just a burden after college loans. He forgave $400,000 in debts you owed him, on condition the ranch stayed whole. Silence. Derek turned red. Those are private. Judge's clerk, mediator, these are admissible if challenged. They stormed out. The big family reunion, annual ranch barbecue, 80+ relatives, always hosted by the heirs, now Derek/Lauren. I showed up uninvited. With the court order confirming trust validity, preliminary ruling in my favor. They had the grill going, banners, honoring Harlan's legacy. I walked to the microphone they used for toasts. Everyone quieted.
Hi, family.
Before you toast the new owners, you should know. The court has validated Grandpa's trust. The ranch, portfolio, all mine to manage per his wishes. No sale. No development. Profits to the charities he loved.
Gasps.
Phones out. Derek, this is a lie. She's forged. I held up the court order on my phone, projected on the barn screen. I'd prepped a USB. And here's Grandpa's video statement from last year. I played it, him clear-eyed. If anyone contests, they get nothing. Sophia knows why. Lauren screamed, you bitch. You stole our inheritance. Mom collapsed into a chair. How could you do this to us? I looked at them calmly. I didn't.
Grandpa did.
He said, they only value what they can spend. Sophia values what lasts. Relatives murmured. Aunts/uncles who'd loaned them money started asking questions. Wait, you borrowed from Harlan too? Derek tried to grab the mic. Security. Ranch hands who knew me since childhood stepped in. I walked away. Sale canceled. Ranch preserved. Court finalized. Trust upheld. They got nothing. No contest clause triggered. Derek's startup? Bankrupt. No ranch collateral. Lauren's lifestyle? Downsized drastically. Divorce number 3 incoming. Parents? Sold their McMansion. Moved to a condo. Mom still posts passive-aggressive Facebook. Family is everything, until it's not. I run the ranch now. Hired local vets, restored trails, donated profits to wildlife conservation. Grandpa's dream. They still send occasional emails. We miss you. Can we talk? I don't reply. If you've carried the weight of a family that only calls when they need rescuing, know this. Sometimes the greatest revenge is living the legacy they tried to erase. What would you do with $12 million and a ranch that finally feels like home?